I guess that would be his character sheet. In the second one.
Very clever of the writers to do that. And then tomorrow's word is unctuous. I like that word. Fun to say. Yeah.
I always thought malevolent was always really interesting because it just reminds me of male violence.
Except me too.
Yeah.
Me too, and that's exactly how I spell it. I just leave out the I. Okay, your sentence for unctuous is, the unctuous receptionist seemed untrustworthy, as if she was only being helpful because she thought we might give her a big tip. So, I'm sure you've met some unctuous people in your life, you know, I taught with a lady who would, she was an older lady, she would describe some unctuous students as oily. Just like they're really oily. And I understand what she meant as I got older, because this word, unctuous, means smooth or greasy in texture. Like, they're slippery people, they're sly, slick people, you know? So I finally understood what she meant. But, and then, nefarious, let me read that sentence to you. Although Dr. Meehan's nefarious plot to melt the polar ice caps was terrifying, it was so impractical that nobody really worried about it. Heinously villainous. Like Mr. Dr. Nefario. Is that just good?
Nefario.
And malevolent. I like this word. The malevolent old man sat in the park all day, tripping unsuspecting passerby with his cane.
That's horrible.
Oh, that's funny though. Wanting harm to befall others.
That is funny.
Yeah, all three of these words are not words you would want someone to describe you as. I hate that feeling like you can never clear your throat. Okay, yesterday, or actually, let me rewind. Today the final draft of your Lord of the Flies paper is due. I'd like you to turn your rough draft in with it if you have it with you. Okay, so I can see the improvements. Did anyone make any major changes to their paper? Okay. You know, sometimes that happens, you know, when you sit down and you start reading through it, you're like, don't really like that. I'll edit that and edit that, or add stuff.
Yeah, it's like I had to reword some stuff.
Okay. So let's collect those now and get them out of your hair.
Stapler?
Yes.
That's what I was headed. Do you like to staple or draft?
Yeah, I kind of do want you to staple it right to the back. That would be excellent.
The rough draft? Did you get
Yeah.
mine?
Yep.
Cool.
I have browser stapler.
Stapler's coming around. I did get some more college information from Taylor, if anyone is interested in Taylor.
Where's that at?
It's in Upland, Indiana. There's, it's like on your way to Muncie. There's not much in Upland except a great ice cream place called Ivanhoe's, if you've ever been there. But it is way out in the boonies. took on there. So this is just gonna be the college board. I took down the current events and just make it all college stuff. You ready for me to take
Oh,
this?
yeah, sorry.
No, that didn't work.
Yeah, sometimes you have to get rough with it.
I can't remember, what's that thing called when so you can see words bigger?
Magnifying glass?
Yes. Can't remember right.
I keep wanting to fill out a microscope. Okay, excellent. Now, yesterday I had you read. You got any emails from Charlie Black?
They sent me one like, we're working on your books. This is other stuff you can do, like advertising stuff, but they said they were working on.
Okay, supposed to be here this week.
I wanna see my school book when it comes tomorrow.
Yes, that would be nice.
What do you want me to do with your school?
Or maybe today.
Well, Skylar's like, I want to see
yesterday.
school pictures, and I was like, when would we
You
be
know,
able to?
when,
Like,
pictures you took yesterday, do you know when we'll get those?
I do not know. I wasn't even here, so hopefully he can use my picture from last year. To make my ID. I don't care about, it's not like I'm gonna pass out wallets or anything, but to make my ID, you know, he could use last
I
year.
think just Savage didn't get her picture.
Yeah,
They're probably.
Yeah, she did, I saw her.
She went,
Oh.
where with Mrs.
Oh, yeah, she
But I
did,
went,
right.
but I went right after Mrs. Fulker, Miss Savage did.
I saw her, you know,
saw her going to where the turn was.
Oh, I guess they went with David.
because she did it right before I took my ballot.
Miss Fulker did it.
Okay, did I have, yesterday in my absence, I had you, did I have you read chapter 7?
And
8.
7 and 8, okay. Let's talk
We're
about
both
this.
really long.
What?
8 was 25 pages.
Did you get it done?
Yes.
Yes, who's, no?
Yeah.
Yes, okay. Yeah, and then, well, the reason I did that is because,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, part 2 starts. So, what happened? Who'd like to start discussion in 7 and 8?
I didn't like 7.
I liked it.
Really? I didn't like 7.
Okay, why didn't you like 7?
I don't know, it just, it wasn't interesting to me. I was just like, I don't know, I like read the whole thing and I was like, what did I just read? But 8, I was like, 8 the whole time, I was like, oh my gosh, and like right after, I was like,
Yeah.
so much stuff just happened, I was like, so much is going through my head, like, but 7, I felt like I didn't get anything.
Okay, well, let's start from 7 then. What happened in 7? Renee?
Well, I'm trying to think of the beginning. He's like writing in his journal and he's kind of like thinking, about, what story is it? I'm not remembering things correctly. Cause he thinks about something and recalls it. It's about, oh yeah, the people, there's the 3 guys that were like anti-government, or they were like doing stuff in the revolution.
The
And
capitalists?
yeah, they were pushing for it.
Yeah.
And, he was saying how he was like in a cafe and that like, they were in there and they were like, nobody wanted to be around them and stuff. And something that it really struck him because a song came on and one of the guys were crying. And then and the whole entire time he's still kind of like sitting down to write in his journal. And I think it's like, I like about that chapter because it kind of like makes him think like, where it like truly states that he's like, this isn't right, he's like, I'm right and they're wrong.
Mhm.
And then I think it's really important because then he also states to himself that O'Brien is on his side. So when he like needs allies.
Have you ever been in that position before where the majority of the people think differently than you do? And you feel in your heart and in your gut that you're right and they're wrong, but there's still that little bit of doubt in your mind, like, well, how could I be right if most other people think the other way, right? See Lauren shaking her head. Anybody want to share a time, Lauren?
Well, like ballet class, like whenever she teaches a combination, like most like the upper level will normally like know it and will like be doing the right arms, and the rest of the kids will be kind of iffy on the combination. They might be doing the wrong arms, so like it'll be like two people that'll like are like the upper level will like have, you know, their arms in the right position, and everyone else will be doing like the wrong position. But it's like we all know that it's right, even though most of the people are doing like something else.
Okay, okay, good example. Anyone else have an example where you knew you were the right one, but we've always been taught that majority rules, right? Whatever most of the people think is what we're gonna go with, right? But you know that you're right in your beliefs. It may have something to do with your faith, you know, with your religion, or like if you're in a room full of people who, or politically, right? Religion and politics are two huge topics that immediately get people fired up, right? And you feel like you're right. And so does the other side. So, you know, we'll never have an agreement on that. And that's what makes the world go round, but you just feel so strongly about it, like Winston does, you know, that he's right. Maybe sometimes in a class when the teacher asks a question and you know the answer, most of the other class is saying something else and it's wrong, and you're going, no, that's
Then you
not.
second guess yourself.
Yeah, and then you
Yeah.
start
That's
second
way
guessing
you're
yourself.
right.
And you're like, okay, maybe I read it wrong, maybe I'm wrong, right? So that's kind of how Winston is feeling. Okay, do we want to move to chapter 8? Okay. Lauren, what do you like about it?
I felt like it was finally like a story. I don't know, like I was interested in what was happening. So he like went to the like town. It's not really forbidden, but it's kind of like being, if you're seen there, it's kind of like, oh, like they're up to something.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's not a good thing to be seen there.
Mm-hmm.
And he like goes into the bar place first, and I don't know, that part wasn't as interesting to me. But then he like went, then he went back and into the bookstore where he got his, or like the store where he got his diary, and he was talking to that man that owned the store, and he was telling him about like, he was trying to find information about what London was like before the like revolution, or like it changed, and he couldn't really like give him the answers he was looking for, but he kind of like told him about how some of the buildings were like, used to be old churches in London, and like they all had specific names, and like he didn't know that before. And then he bought a piece of coral, and when he was leaving, there's like a girl that was following him, and he's pretty sure that she's spying on him. And one thing he said, like, got me really, he like started like walking in the opposite direction. He's like, I could just turn around and go and like kill her or something, so she never know. And I was like, where is this coming from? Like, I didn't expect him to say that, but yeah.
Well, let's pause for a second here. Where is it coming from?
Anger.
Yeah. He's filled with anger because of the society that he's living in. He disagrees with it so passionately that it's misplaced anger for sure. And I'm sure you've experienced that before. Mom's mad at brother and takes it out on you or whatever, right? Or dad's mad at mom, takes it out on you, whatever. We've all experienced misplaced anger. I've done it myself, right? Yell at the wrong kid because you're mad at another kid. You know how it goes. Yell at the dog didn't do anything. So he's very upset, and he's thinking, you know, I could kill her.
My question is, where are the thought police? Because he's thinking that, and they're not like, you can't think that.
Anybody have an answer to that? Or
They probably don't,
what?
they probably don't care if you're gonna kill someone. So it's
Why not?
one less person they have to deal with.
Okay, possibly.
And maybe if he was like to kill her, it would like either be swept under the rug or they would be like, there's killings, we need to enforce more laws.
Okay.
More like telescreens and we need to do this.
Why didn't he kill her?
Maybe he didn't want to draw more attention to himself.
Okay. Anyone else have any thoughts on chapter 8? Olivia?
I liked, like, that's the chapter where I felt like I was finally interested in it. Because for me, it's less about, like, the setting and, like, the background. It's, like, the character development's what gets me, like, interested in a book or a TV show or something.
Mm-hmm.
And he's finally, like, you can finally see what the character's actually about. It's not just, like, talking about the society and stuff, so.
Right. So do you like Winston's character?
I hate the fact
It's
that it always
interesting.
mentions sir.
What, Olivia?
He's interesting.
He's interesting?
I can't
What'd you say,
decide.
Renee?
It keeps mentioning his ulcer and I'm like, ew.
Yeah. Like, why do
It's understandable, though, that he would have an
Like-
ulcer in this society.
Yeah, but I'm kind of thinking like, is it supposed to represent something? Like, it doesn't seem too much of a book of like complete symbolism, like it was Lord of the Flies.
It's gonna have a ton of symbolism,
Yeah.
though.
But, so I'm kind of thinking.
And we'll come back to that. The ulcer growing inside him represents,
Mhm.
yeah.
It's a
Hang on.
big,
Pause that, file that thought. Lauren?
I feel like he was like finally getting, I don't know, kind of like happy, because when he walked out of the store, he like, was like, oh, I should like go back there and buy that other like painting that he really liked, and that rhyme that the old man told him about the churches. He was like humming it on the way out, and then he saw that girl and he had to like stop and everything, but you know, he was like enjoying himself and like.
And then she ruined his mood, right? And that's all happened to us, right? Having a good day and it's like, you're bringing me down, man, right? Or you may be having such a good day that you say, not even you can ruin my mood, right? But she did, because it kind of brought him, I think for a minute there, he forgot
yeah.
about his society. And then when he saw her, he was like, oh yeah, I made it. Yeah, and so that was a bummer. Yeah.
Sorry, so
No,
when
it's
he
okay.
was in the store, they went upstairs and like there's that room that he thought about like, oh, it'd be cool to like rent it out, and then he's like, no, like I can't even think about that. And then he like thought about it for a little bit longer like the second time, so I feel like that's gonna keep growing inside of him.
Mm-hmm.
And something he said to the man that owned the store, he was like, there are no like TV screens in here, and he's like, I love that. Like it was just like so weird to him to be in a room with no TV screens.
Mhm.
Like no one's watching it.
And that, if you remember Fahrenheit 451, the TV screens were huge in that book as well. If you haven't read Fahrenheit 451,
You should read it.
you should.
It's amazing.
It's really good. It's along these same lines, but not, I don't think it's as confusing.
Yeah, it's like more straightforward.
Yeah.
It's like a story the whole time.
Yeah.
It's probably one of my favorite books of all time.
Mm-hmm. That,
It's, they burn, have either one of you read it? We're gonna do a project where you get to pick a novel and do a novel analysis, and I'm gonna recommend that to you two seniors, because I just don't think you can go to college without having read it. It's about a society similar to this, but reading is illegal. And I know you might be, but
Skylar's okay with
Skylar,
that.
the consequence of that is you have a really dumb
it's
society,
very corrupt.
but the government wants it that way because it's easier to control dumb people than smart people, right? And
Reminds me a lot of Brave New World.
yes,
This book does too.
yes, I'd put them all in the same category, yes. Brave New World was more,
That book was disturbing.
Gross.
yes, more disturbing. So if you have, you'll read it next year. They'll read it next year. It'll come back around, you'll get to read it next year. It's more sexual than,
But weren't they forbidden to read too? In that book?
yeah, but in Fahrenheit 451, let's say you were my neighbor and I suspected that you had books, I would call the fire department and they would come and burn down your house.
Without looking in the house.
And if you were in it, even better.
Yeah, because then they would kill you.
But one of the firemen, Montag,
Crazy.
the fireman Montag, he's a thinker, and it bothers him a lot. And so he ends up finding a book and hiding it in his house, and his wife is a total twit. And she is ignorant.
They
All she
really
wants to
need
do
to
is
be
watch the
careful.
soap operas on the big screen TVs, and she has these ladies over and they have discussions, and Montag asks them a deep question and it bothers them, yeah. And it's really good, it really is.
Which is really funny because like you're not supposed to read if you're supposed to drive really fast.
Yes.
Which is kind of some things that most people want to do.
Yeah,
So
it's
it's like it's
very
legal.
similar to our society right now. Our TVs keep getting bigger and bigger. People drive fast, people aren't reading as much because they're watching TV. People don't go outside in Fahrenheit 451 or sit on the porch, they don't socialize, which is kind of what we're doing. You know, we're more and more people are doing school online, so they're not socializing. It's so many similarities, it's so frightening.
I feel like when you're not around people enough though, that you just sink down into a depression.
Yeah, yeah. You
That's the
need-
whole point though, like his
Yeah.
wife is in a depression and
Yeah.
she doesn't, and she like
She's, like,
constantly
earbuds in the
over,
whole
like
time.
takes, like she overdoses.
She
all
tries
the
to fill
time.
herself in the book,
And then they can, there's like a machine that can come and like
Pump
fix
your
her
stomach.
and like change her blood and.
it's really good.
Yeah.
It's a deeper thinking book, but not as deep as this in Brave New World. And then Anthem is the other one that kind of led into that. I put all four of those. And it,
Hated that book,
It's
all the
like
time.
10 pages long.
yeah,
Don't
so
read the
funny
book.
the different
Don't read it.
reactions from people.
Don't read
I
it.
never
Don't,
heard of this
don't,
You probably wouldn't
don't
like
burn
it,
it.
but you, Olivia, you might, because you don't use I. Like, that's what's hard about it, is that.
You're not allowed to use I because you're not allowed to
I don't think that's
of
what I
yourself.
have.
You have to think
So
of
then I
I
society.
like
like
there's
the
not
kind of the idea of
They're
Yeah,
at,
the idea
at the
of
end of the
the
book,
book
they allow
Yeah.
it. Again, there's one character who goes against society. All four of these books have the same theme. If I were to teach a class on, I don't know, future, or I don't know what I would call the class, but those are four novels that would definitely go together. But anyway, anything else in chapter 8?
Didn't mention coffee in the beginning, but I was like, yes. Actually, what was interesting about that too,
I want coffee.
well, it was really weird because it was like, and he like smelled coffee, like real coffee.
Victory
like,
coffee.
Not the Victory coffee. So like someone's got something he's like, and it like reminded him of his childhood.
Mhm.
Which in his childhood, it was before the revolution.
Yes.
So it's like, oh, somebody's brewing up something that's not allowed.
Right, and he likes that in people, yes. And Winston remembers what it's like before all these rules happen. But think about if you were born into, if you're a child all in this, you have no idea what it was like before, right? So this is all you know, and you're very used to it. But if you're older and you have memories and recollections of what it used to be like before, you're going to have a harder time adjusting to the new ways. And we talked about that. I related it to here at school, right? It's like, you know, you have a new math and science teacher. You're probably thinking about, Mr. Bly, right? But you have to move on, right? So, but the newer kids have an easier time because they didn't have him very much. Yeah.
That reminds me when like he visited that man's store and he was trying to get him, like ask him about what it was like before. Like he couldn't really, I don't know if it was just because he was too old or if it was like,
Scared, maybe.
or someone mentioned something about if the government would like alter their memories. So I
Mhm.
didn't know if they could like have altered his memories.
Or, those two are good possibilities, or maybe he was afraid to say anything because he was being watched or listened to, or the thought police, right? He didn't really, fear, again, fear is a theme in a lot of the books that you'll read. Fear's a motivator here. But if you don't like your society in the first place, why are you afraid of them killing you?
Seems like that'd be better.
To me, sometimes fear is like the opposite of a motivator. It like holds you back.
Okay?
So I feel like maybe he's still scared, like in the sense that he's not motivated from it yet, he's still like being held back from it.
Very true, good way to look at it. Think of it in ballet, or something new that you wanna try, a new song or something. Maybe you're afraid to try it. You see it and you wanna do it, but you're like, oh, I'm too scared. What if I mess up? What if I look like a fool? What if I don't sound good? You know what I mean? Maybe Mr. Grand rhythmically shows you a new, leap, or dance move, and you're like, oh, I don't know if I can try that. So you're right, fear can hold you back. Maybe there's something you want to say in class and you're afraid, because you don't want to sound stupid or you don't want to sound foolish, so you don't. But then sometimes you just gotta, you guys are about to go out into the world in a few months and in a year, right? Say it. Get your hand up there. Don't be afraid. Holly?
It's funny you mention that, because I know this is just a TV show, but it's called Nashville, and it's about this woman and basically the country music industry, and she just got over an accident and she's afraid to sing, and my mom and I were discussing how I think she was afraid of rejection if she couldn't sing, but of course her voice was incredible and everyone was cheering for her, and so it was just kind of neat to see that, because she finally was okay, I'm going to do this, because she was kind of pushed into the situation, because they were you should sing for us, and so, but I don't know.
Yeah, very similar about an example of fear can hold you back. Or I know a lot of people who want to write a book, but they're like, I'm afraid to send it away, afraid of rejection. My daughter just said this last night. My oldest daughter, there's a couple colleges she wants to apply to, and she's like, I don't want to get turned down. I'm like, you never know what they're going to say. You might as well try it, She's afraid she won't get into IU, Bloomington. And I'm like, because her guidance counselor at Southside told her there are 3 categories. There's